Okay, let's talk success is possible. Lesson one, right out the bat. I want you to know that you have superpowers that you don't even know that you have. I'm not even really being cheesy about it. It's super true. I have had so many students go through this course and say, I didn't realize that I could change my life. And Maui wants you to know that. I want you to know that. And I want to give you some examples from my own life so that when you get to the end of lesson one and it asks you what kind of accomplishments you've overcome, or excuse me, what kind of accomplishments you've achieved and what kind of obstacles you've overcome, that you don't sit there and be like, wow, I haven't really done anything, or I haven't come up with any obstacles yet. I absolutely, absolutely believe that you already have, and you're not giving yourself enough credit. So straight off the bat, understand you're a superhero. We're going to get you in touch with those superhero powers you have inside, and I'm going to share some of those with you for just a second. So, my story actually starts really interestingly. I don't share this very much with people, but I want to share it with you just because everyone just comes from so many different backgrounds, and I want you to hear a little bit about mine. I actually was born in a psychiatric hospital. My birth mother was institutionalized for having schizophrenia, and she did not know she was pregnant with me. She went into labor in that hospital. Nobody knew she was pregnant, and boom, there's Mindy. So no prenatal vitamins, no baby showers. Nobody even knew it was coming. I just boom, here I am. And I would have ended up in the foster care system with that surprise birth. But my birth mother decided to put me up for adoption. And so that's something that I don't have control over. If you read in lesson one and they talk about things that you don't have control over, um, moving, your parents getting a divorce, what your skin color is, how much money your family has. That's something that could be a challenge to overcome that I frankly have no control over. I do know that I was adopted by my adopted mom and dad, and they tried to provide me a really wonderful life. So that worked really great until I was around about 5 when my adopted mom and dad divorced. That really changed my life. My mom and I moved away from my family and friends from Jacksonville, Florida to Orlando, Florida. And I had a really hard time. I was so lonely. I missed my family and friends. That was really hard for me. It took me probably like a decade before I really felt like I lived in Orlando. I used to tell people that I still lived in Jacksonville. And if people asked me where I lived, I actually said hell. I did not like Orlando. People were not as friendly. Everybody was moving in and moving out. I also had a culture shock. In the area of Jacksonville I grew up, there was a lot of African American people in my neighborhood, and I very rarely saw Latinos. So when I moved to Orlando, all of my friends and all the people in my class only were Latina or Latinos. It was a real big culture shock for me. I tried to fit in with them by doing what they did. So they had, like this, guys, this is a long time ago, okay, but they had big gold hoop earrings. They all wore a lot of bronzer, and they had these big bottles of hair gel. They were in crazy colors. They were yellow and green and blue, depending on how much hold you needed in your hair. I don't know if you guys can tell, I don't have Latino hair. I'm a white girl. So, but I wanted to fit in with them. I wanted to look like them so bad so that they would accept me. So I put that hair gel in my hair, trying to get these beautiful curls that these Latina girls had. And I put bronzer on my face, which you guys can imagine I looked like a Cheeto. And I put big gold hoops in my hair. And it took me a long time of trying to fit in before I realized that I didn't have to do that to learn to be myself. So I overcame some of those challenges. I got used to living in Orlando. I was able to graduate second in my class. I was a salutatorian when I graduated high school. And then I went on to complete a 4-year degree for teaching at UCF. I was the first person in my family to graduate with a bachelor's degree. It was a really big accomplishment. That's not how I went in my family. My mom, my adopted mom, graduated from high school, and her mom actually only completed a 7th grade education. My grandmother never got a driver's license, and she never worked a day outside of the home, and she didn't finish high school. So I want you guys to know the circumstances that you come from don't have to impact your future. I love my job. I love that I get to tell you guys this story and let you know that your future is not impacted by your past if you tap into those superpowers. So I want to know what that looks like for you. The course is asking you to take just a few sentences and tell me some of the obstacles that you have overcome. Divorce, moving, culture shock, learning a new language, any of those things matter. Take a couple sentences, maybe up to a paragraph, dig in like I have, and give yourself some credit for the obstacles that you have overcome. The second question you can answer is what kind of accomplishments you've achieved. I graduated high school. I remember buying my first car. I graduated from college. When I was in 10th grade, I published some poetry. I learned how to play sports. I'm not athletic at all, but I played a different sport every year of high school to challenge myself. And I pretty much got player most improved every single time because you go from not knowing what to do and being the worst to a little bit better at being worse. So give yourself some credit. Let me know what that's like for you. And the third option is to tell me who inspired you from lesson one. Maisie or Khaled Husseini or Maui or even me if you want to. I'm not trying to put a plug in here, but now you know a little bit about my story. Who inspired you to let you know that the past doesn't have to impact your future? I would love to hear that from you for lesson one, and I want you to just really dig in and soak up the success as possible for you. I can't wait to see your response. Give me a call or text if you have any questions on how to do that assignment. This is a review of lesson one, Success is Possible, option number one. I can't wait to see your answer.